Hello, I'm Barry Shore, Professor Emeritus at the University of New Hampshire and Head of Development here at SSGI. The impact of remote work on the workplace represents one of the most significant changes and challenges since the Industrial Revolution. At that time, nearly everyone worked under one roof. Everyone commuted. Today, fewer make that daily trip. Instead, many work remotely. While the transition to a work-from-home model started more than 10 years ago, it gained considerable momentum during the COVID-19 pandemic when a significant portion of the organization's workforce was required to work from home. Now, the numbers working from home have grown so large that the challenge of managing in this new environment have become a major issue. The confluence of two factors continues to fuel this transition. First is the maturity of virtual communication technology, from video conferencing to FaceTime to instant messaging. As a result, we now have a reliable, flexible, and secure connection, regardless of where people live. Second is the growing preference among many in the workforce for a better work-life balance. Indeed, countless surveys have underscored this last point, finding that 30 to 70% of respondents prefer either a work-from-home or a hybrid option. This shift has been received enthusiastically by most who are in a position to work from home, but at the same time, it has created challenges for the organization and its leaders. Without the opportunity to work face-to-face, the social process underpinning the leadership concept has been upended. As a result, many questions about the best way to manage and lead a remote workforce have been raised. Such questions include how to set performance standards, monitor them, build trust and community, and maintain the organization's culture. But there has also been one major benefit to the organization. The labor pool has substantially increased. A person can apply for a job regardless of where they live. The search for qualified job candidates is no longer limited to a geographic area within commuting distance of the office. Now, that search has no geographic boundaries. A company in Atlanta can hire a qualified candidate in Denver, and that person does not have to move. Lacking a face-to-face environment, some leaders find it challenging to adjust. As one person in HR said, "The younger leaders have less trouble with it than those who have been around for a long time. They find it challenging to manage people they seldom, if ever, see in person." Indeed, there are leadership challenges. The management and leadership approaches we have relied upon for decades are necessary but not sufficient to deliver the results that leaders expect today. So these traditional approaches need to be revisited. We need to explore how a community can be built when leaders and their followers no longer share physical facilities. We need to explore how effective work practices can be assured. We need to explore how productivity can be maintained, but we also need to explore how employees can be motivated in an environment that risks isolation and limited social engagement. And we need to revisit how an organizational culture can be preserved across physical distances. Not all remote work is the same. It can be divided into those who work remotely full-time and those who split their time between the office and home, called a hybrid model. In that model, it must be determined how often people need to show up at the office. Should it be once every week or more frequently? The answer depends on the nature of the job, the flexibility and capability of the leader, and the preferences of those in the workforce. Basic management principles, moreover, still apply. but extending them beyond the walls of the office can be challenging. To be sufficient, we need to address engagement, productivity, motivation, and team building. Let's take a look at each of these issues. First, we turn to engagement. The Society for Human Resource Management, SHRM, defines employee engagement as the level of an employee's commitment and connection to an organization. They contend that engagement can affect employee retention, productivity, and loyalty. In addition, they maintain that engagement is a key link to customer satisfaction, company reputation, and overall stockholder value. Here is the problem. A Gallup survey found that only 33% of employees are engaged in their jobs. 55% report just showing up, and 17% say they are actively disengaged. How do we improve the situation, especially in a remote environment? 9 suggestions can prove helpful. They include staying connected with those in the workplace through video technology, encouraging community participation in virtual events, expressing caring to those in the workforce, actively soliciting feedback, listening carefully to followers, recognizing and celebrating contributions, sharing issues rather than protecting workers from them, offering a mix of remote and on-site work, and creating a sense of purpose for all in the workforce. The second issue we need to address is productivity. It is one of the most challenging issues in remote work, and perhaps the most significant difference between on-site and off-site work. While some of the workforce are motivated and appreciative of having these choices, others can be less motivated and may find it difficult to achieve task-related productivity goals. And this is undoubtedly one of the primary reasons why some leaders are reluctant to support remote work. They are concerned that they will lose control. However, evidence suggests that if the proper environment is created, productivity can not only equal that obtained in an on-site setting, but exceed it. The reality is that we are all monitored. The most obvious is the performance review at the end of the year. But the very nature of remote work, together with the physical separation of leaders and the workforce, suggests more frequent monitoring. However, before monitoring decisions are made, 3 issues should be considered. First, what needs to be monitored? Second, how often monitoring should occur? And third, how that data will be used. Monitoring can be a significant factor in achieving short-term results, but long-term consequences must also be considered. Here's the problem. Most contemporary management and leadership approaches emphasize a democratic style where leaders engage followers, are inclusive, and function more as a coach than a traditional manager. The problem is that there is likely to be a conflict between the apparent negative implications of monitoring and the positive forces of a democratic management style. Unless the leader carefully balances them while ensuring that measurement does not dominate management, the group's performance can suffer in the long run. How do you motivate or sustain motivation when the leader and followers are not only in different locations, but followers are isolated from one another? We have found that a sense of community can still be established with a proactive approach. In fact, it is possible to build an even greater sense of community, and this community can be a significant factor in motivating individual and group performance. But to create a sense of community, several conditions must be met. The job must be seen as meaningful. There must be a strong sense of purpose, and there must be trust between leaders and their followers. With these forces in alignment, the stage is set for a motivated workforce. This proactive approach is heavily dependent on video technology. When effectively used, it becomes the conduit through which we engage the workforce and create a sense of community. For example, each team member can be asked for their position when an important issue is considered. Contrary views can be discussed and an attempt made to reach a consensus. But everyone must be brought into the conversation. The leader moderates the discussion. They function more as a coach than a traditional manager. Team building is certainly more challenging in a remote environment. In fact, it is reasonable to ask if it is even possible to build an effective team in this environment. Yet, teenagers do it all the time. They are constantly on the phone, protecting their place in the social community, engaging with others, and organizing activities. And all this is done through communication technology. There needs to be a shift in how we manage remote groups to create effective remote teams. Within certain boundaries defined by the job itself, groups need to be encouraged to be self-governing. They need to be engaged in setting their own agendas, assigning tasks, and determining performance standards. But above all, team members need to hold each other responsible for achieving group goals. It is doubtful that we will return to a situation where everyone works full-time in a central facility. Indeed, the options of full-time, hybrid, and work from home are likely here to stay. Today, it is common for many in the workplace to have choices. They can choose the one that offers them a better work-life balance and better meets their needs. For them, the benefits are clear. But the organizational challenges in support of this variety of options are not inconsequential. They bring both challenges and opportunities. To ensure success, leadership must address the challenges in remote monitoring, consider new ways of engaging the workforce, create an environment that motivates their workforce, and make every effort to build high-performance teams. For in-depth courses in this area, we offer 4 certification programs shown below. They include leading a hybrid workforce, leading a remote workforce, leading an on-site customer service center, and leading a remote customer service center. For more details, click on the link below. And we offer many more full certification programs focusing on training topics. Thanks for watching.